Hello everyone, welcome all of you to today's YouTube class on the ODA app channel. So my dear kids, let's study. This is what we are going to be studying today. And I have one question for all of you. Are the Himalayas still rising? So stay till the very end of the video and we'll find the answer to this, that are Himalayas still rising? So my dear kids, first of all, let me tell you all about our ODA app. So ODA app is the most innovative live learning app. You can download the app for yourself from the Play Store. And my dear kids, we have a special crash course running these days. So, my dear kids, even you can enroll yourself into the crash course, and there are many things that you will be getting in this crash course. So, this is a 1 week long program in which you will be having certain math sessions, certain science session, and you will also be getting dual teachers. So, what is this dual teacher model? So, in this model, there will be one teacher who will be teaching you in the class, but for any after class doubts, any other academic related support, we have a personal mentor teacher that will be assigned right to you. So, other than this, we also give homework and excellent study material so that in your upcoming school examinations, you perform the best. So, my dear kids, if you want to enroll into the crash course, there is a link given in the description box. You can click on that link and you can enroll yourself for very affordable rates of rupees 29, 49, or 99, that is based upon your grades. We will talk more about it. But first, now let me introduce you to myself. So my name is Kritika Sharma and I am a master science teacher right here at ODA Class. So my dear kids, I have completed my masters from the Punjab University of Chandigarh and I have taught and mentored thousands of students over my more than 2 years of experience. So, yes, my dear kids, let's start today's topic now. And as I said, we will be learning, are the Himalayas still rising? But before coming to that question, we need to understand a lot more things. So, the very first thing that we will be studying today is the plate tectonics and the Earth's internal structure, right? So we live on the topmost surface of the earth, but the earth is very huge and it has a complicated internal structure. So let's see how it goes. So my dear kids, have a look here. Suppose I will be first explaining you what is the earth. So we all know earth is the third planet from the sun and it is the only planet that is known to support life, right? And its surface, the Earth's surface, as you can see right here, it is covered with the continents and the oceans. But when we dig deeper into the Earth, then we find there are layers also in the Earth's surface, and that is what we refer to as the internal structure of the Earth, right? So let's move ahead, and now we'll be seeing that Earth also has multiple layers. There are multiple layers in the Earth. So the first one is this right here that you can see on the top surface over which we live, and that is the crust. Okay, this is the crust, right, dear children? So the crust is also divided into two subtypes, but let's dig deeper into what exactly is the crust. So, yes, my dear children, as I said, the crust is the outermost layer. It is the outermost layer of our Mother Earth. And my dear kids, its thickness, it varies, okay? It varies to up to 70 to 100 kilometer. I will be telling you that why is the thickness varying. But let's see what is this crust made up of. So my dear kids, the crust is made up of the rocks, the minerals, and the soil. So these all are the what components the crust is made up of. And we can also see variety of landform features over our crust. So you can also see the mountains, you can see the plateaus, and you can see the oceans as well. So all of these landforms, all of these features that are visible, they are a part or a feature of the crust itself. The crust has taken a different shape, and that is what results into a landform feature. After the crust, we may move on to the mantle, right? We move on to the mantle. But before that, let me tell you the crust has also some subtypes, right? So look here, right here. So the crust is basically of two types, okay? It is of two types that you can see the continental crust. So the crust right beneath the continents is known as the continental crust, okay? But the crust that is beneath the oceans, it is known as the oceanic crust. So continental crust is much thicker because you can see over the continents we have variety of landforms. We have landforms like the mountains, like the plateaus. All of these variety of landforms are there, and that is why the continental crust is much thicker as compared to the oceanic crust, which has slightly less thickness than the continental crust. Well, after the crust, the next layer that we move on to is our mantle. Okay, so mantle is thicker than the crust. It is thicker than the crust. And what most interesting about the mantle is that it comprises of around 84% of the Earth's volume. So you can see the mantle is the thickest layer. Okay, mantle is being the thickest layer, and it also has the most volume as compared to the other layers of the Earth. Now, let's move ahead and see here. The composition of mantle is mostly of solid nature. So, mantle is mostly solid apart from its topmost layer. So, its topmost layer of the mantle, it is known as the asthenosphere. Okay, it is known as the asthenosphere, and it is slightly of the molten nature. The whole mantle being solid, but the topmost layer is of the molten nature, and that is why it also contributes to other factors which we will be studying in the upcoming minutes. All right, so this was about the mantle and the asthenosphere. Now, when we move forward, we come to the most central part of our Earth, and that is our core. Okay, this is the core. So the core is the innermost layer of our Earth, and core is also divided into two subtypes, and that is the inner core and the outer core, right? So the inner core is in the solid state. All right. The inner core is in the solid state. However, the outer core is in a liquid state. Now, why is this? Why is this there such a differentiation? The differentiation is because of so much of the pressure exerted from all other layers. So much of pressure is being exerted from all other layers. So that is why the inner core becomes in a solid state. However, the outer core still remains in a liquid state or a liquid form, right? So this was about the internal structure of the earth. But you all must be wondering, how do we come to know about the internal structure of the earth? We as a humankind have never been able to dig deeper into the different layers of the earth. So how do we know that this is the structure of the earth? So, my dear kids, we all know it through very scientific studies, and there are very great surveys that are being carried. So, the most feasible and the most uh, innovative type of the survey, or that you can say a research, or how we came to know about the structure of the earth, is a geophysical survey. Okay, it is the geophysical surveys, and in this method, this is a method in which we are able to see or understand or comprehend the internal structure of the earth. So, you know what happens in this? In this type of surveys, some seismic waves are the same waves that arise in case of an earthquake. All right. So, we have already studied about the behavior of these seismic waves. So we know that how in solid medium these seismic waves behave, or how in the liquid medium these seismic waves behave. We have studied and analyzed all of the properties of the seismic waves. Now we came up with this seismic survey, and what happened is we produced these seismic waves artificially from one point of the earth. Okay, and then there was various receptors that were plotted around the globe. There were various receptors that were plotted to get these seismic waves, to get back these seismic waves. Now, when we produce these seismic waves artificially, they traveled across the globe. Okay, they traveled across the earth through the different layers. But what exactly happened was, some of these seismic waves, they reached the receptor points without deviating. However, some of the seismic waves, they were deviated or refracted by some angle. Okay, so by understanding this, we came to know that all right, there are also so many layers of the earth, and all of these layers are not homogeneous in nature. That means their composition is different. That is why we came to know, with the help of this seismic survey, that what is the internal structure of the earth, and how are the different composition affecting different processes that are taking inside our earth. All right. So now, my dear kids, I hope you have understood how did we come to know about this internal structure of the earth, right? And now, my dear kids, let's move ahead and now have a look right here at this particular picture. Okay, have a look right here. And now, can you all tell me, do they seem to fit like a puzzle? Yes, I know this is a picture of the various continents, of all of the continents that we have on the surface of our earth. Now, you tell me, do they seem to fit like a picture? Yes, or a picture puzzle, right? Yes, you can see the Africa right here can fit into this South America, right? They can fit into the puzzle like this just here, isn't it? And you can see the Australia in this side can also fit in here. So these often appear to be fitted together like a puzzle. They fit together like puzzle pieces. And my dear kids, yes, most of you might have guessed it right. Of course, they fit like a puzzle. And there was a time in the past when all of these landforms, all of these continents were actually fitted together like a puzzle. They were all fitted together like a puzzle, my dear kids. They were all together a big landform, right? Can you see right here? This is how they were all together. And this huge landform or this huge continent was a supercontinent, okay? It was a supercontinent. So nearly 250 million years ago, there was a supercontinent. Can you see right here? This right here is a picture or a rough diagram of what our Earth looked like nearly 250 million years ago. All right. So this was known as the Pangea, this supercontinent, this big continent, which all of now present days continents are now attached. It was known as the Pangea, and then it was surrounded by one huge ocean or one huge sea. But later on, now when we come to today's picture, or how today we see the globe, this is how we see right now. This is how we see our globe right now. So all of this has split up, and now we have different continents surrounded by different seas, different oceans. So why did this happen? How did this become this? Yes, my dear kids, can you tell me? No worries, I'll be explaining this right to you. So, my dear kids, have a look right here. So, the Pangea, that was the supercontinent, it split up. It split up, and then it became different small little components. And why did it split up? It split up because of the tectonic plate movements. Now, here is where I introduce a new term to you, the tectonic plates. So, what are these tectonic plates? So, tectonic plate is just nothing but the Earth's crust divided into small little pieces. It is just the Earth's crust divided into small little pieces, and that is what is known as the tectonic plates, right? They are the tectonic plates. And why did this Pangea right here split up? So, this Pangea split it up because of the tectonic plates only. Okay, because of the tectonic plates movement, the movement was happening within these plates, and that is why the supercontinent that we once had, where all lands were together, it split up. So our crust, when we look into our crust, so have a look right here. So this is how the crust is divided into 12 major plates. All right. So our crust that is divided into 12 major plates, and then there are also some minor plates. So this is the only diagram for the 12 major plates, right? So now these tectonic plates that I'm talking about, these tectonic plates, they can move. All right. They can move, and they can move in different direction. So let's see, they can even collide. So these two tectonic plates, they can collide into one another. Then we have, they can pull apart. So they can pull apart, diverge from one another, or they can simply just slide past one another. So this is how we can see the tectonic plates move. And due to this movement of the tectonic plates, then we come to our tectonic plate boundaries. So this results into plate boundary. So let's read these plate boundaries one by one. So the very first tectonic plate boundary that we will be studying is the convergent plate boundary. Okay, it is the convergent plate boundary. So whenever the two tectonic plates, they collide, that means they move in one direction. Okay, they move towards each other, they collide, they result into the formation of the convergent plate boundary. All right. So you can see right here, these two plates are moving towards each other, and then they can collide. And this type of plate boundary often results into the formation of the mountains. Okay. So you can see here, you can see the continental crust and another continental crust. These two have collided, and here you can see some mountain range or high plateaus as well, right? So this type of plate boundary, in which where the two tectonic plates come and collide with each other, it results into the formation of features like mountains, and it is known as the convergent plate boundary. After this, we move ahead and we move on to our second type of tectonic boundary, or the tectonic plate boundary. Like right here is the divergent plate boundary. It is the divergent plate boundary, and as the name suggests, the plates are diverging. Okay, what are they doing? They are diverging. They are moving away from each other. They are pulling apart. So such type of tectonic plate boundaries are known as the divergent plate boundaries. So you can see right here in this as well. So in this, the tectonic plates are moving apart each other. They are moving apart each other, and the hot magma from the bottom is arising and coming to the surface. The hot magma is coming right to the surface, right? And this also results into the formation of new crust or the juvenile crust. Yes, even crust can be formed. So how is that formed? Let me explain you right here. So have a look right here. When these two plates are moving apart, when these two plates are moving apart, what happens is, what happens is there is some gap open. Okay, they are often known as trenches or mid-oceanic ridges. There is some gap right there. So to fill up that gap, the hot magma would rush up from beneath and come to the surface. It would rush up and come to the surface right here. So have a look. These two plates are moving apart, right? And then the hot magma is just rising right here, and it comes to the surface over here. When it comes to the surface, it cools down and it results into the formation of the new crust. So this is the process which results into the formation of new crust. And this divergent tectonic boundaries, they also result into the formation of the oceanic ridges. That is what they result into. So now, my dear kids, let's move on to the another type of plate boundary that we are going to study today, and that is the transform plate boundary. Okay, this is the transform plate boundary, and in this type of plate boundary, what is happening right here? And just have a look. So the plates, they are simply sliding past each other. Okay, they are not converging, they are not diverging, they are simply sliding past each other. All right, these plates simply slide past each other, and this type of plate boundary is known as the transform plate boundary. It is known as the transform plate boundary. So we have studied about the tectonic plates, the type of boundaries they form, all of this. Now, a question might arise in your mind, which is a very obvious question. That why are these plates moving? Why is this crust not stable and why is it moving? So my dear kids, these tectonic plates that are present on the crust, they are moving because of the convection cells. Okay, so, as I had told you when I was telling you about the internal structure of the earth, about the mantle, that the top layer of the mantle, that is known as the asthenosphere, it is slightly molten in state. Okay, it was slightly molten in state. So, in that asthenosphere, this type of convection cells are moving on. So, you know what is happening right here? So these tectonic plates, just right below the crust, is this asthenosphere right there. And it is of the molten state. And what is happening? The magma, the hot magma is coming up, it cools down, and it goes below. So this type of cycle is going on. Let me show you in more detail. So have a look right here. Have a look. This is what we can see. So the magma is rising up right here. Can you see the magma is rising up? When it rises up, when it comes to the surface, it it becomes cooler. It coolers. And we all know the cool thing would again sink down. So when it comes to the surface, it again sinks down to the bottom. And this cycle is taking place. This cycle is reason of these convection cells that are forming right below our crust. And this convection cell results into the formation or the movement of the tectonic plates. So have a look. I'll be showing you right there in detail. So see here. So the tectonic plates, they are moving because of this convection cells. So right here the magma is rising. Right here the magma rises and then it is sinking down right here. So due to this, the tectonic plate right here, this tectonic plate, it is also moving in this direction. When we come to here, this tectonic plate is moving in this direction because of the magma is flowing in this way. So now these two plates, what are they doing? They are converging. Okay, due to the very opposite movement, they are moving towards each other, they are converging, and this results into the formation of the convergent plate boundary, right? Similarly, look right here. So right here, when we look, as I said, the magma is moving in this direction. So the plate would also move in that direction. And right here in this cell, the magma is moving into the opposite direction right here. So this plate over it would also move in this direction. So what is happening right here? At this place, the plates, they are diverging. They are moving apart from each other. And this results into the formation of a divergent plate boundary. So you can see this is how the tectonic plates are moving, and this is the reason these mantle convection cells is the reason why the tectonic plates, they are moving and such plate boundaries are formed, right? We move beyond this. I have already explained you this. And now we come to our very question that I had asked you in the very start. So that question is, are Himalayas still rising? Yes. So the answer to this is yes, the Himalayas are still rising. So let me tell you how we can say that the Himalayas are rising, right? So have a look right here. This is our globe, okay? This is our globe. And as I told you, the Earth's crust is divided into various plates, various tectonic plates. Out of those two tectonic plates, the Himalayas, they form at a boundary of two major plates. And those two major plates are the Indian Australian plate and the second one being the Eurasian plate, right? So the Himalayas, they are formed at a boundary of the Indian Eurasian Australian plate and the Eurasian plate. Now, what happens is these two plates form a boundary that is known as the convergent boundary. And at the convergent boundary, what happens is the plates, they are colliding into each other. Okay, they are coming towards each other, they are colliding, and that is what a convergent boundary is formed. And even here we can see that a convergent boundary is being formed. So this Indian Australian plate, it is moving beneath the Eurasian plate. It is moving beneath the Eurasian plate. That is why these two plates are colliding and forming a convergent boundary. And due to this, some of the rocks, they start to fold up. They start to fold up in this particular region. The rocks are starting to fold up. And that is why this folding up of the rocks resulted into the formation of the Himalayas, right? It resulted into the formation of the Himalayas. And you can see this Indian Australian plate, this is going beneath the Eurasian plate. And let me tell you that this process is still taking place. This subduction or this going beneath process of this Indian Australian plate beneath the Eurasian plate is still taking place even right now when you are listening to me, right? So it is still taking place and it will continue to take place even in the upcoming years, even in the upcoming million of years. So this results into continuous folding of the rocks right here, and this would result into the formation or continuous rising of the Himalayas. So yes, we come to our answer now. Himalayas are still rising. So yes, the answer to this is yes, the Himalayas are still rising. Right, my dear kids? And now, let me tell you what all things did we study today. So in today's class, we studied about the internal structure and the plate tectonics. And we came to a conclusion that yes, Himalayas are still rising. The great Himalayas will continue to rise high. But this also makes this Himalayan region very prone to the upcoming earthquakes. So, since this is a plate boundary, that is why this region in which the Himalayas are, the typical North Indian area, that becomes very prone to the earthquake as this continuous plate movements are taking place. And yet, I again answer one of your question again, that why are earthquakes so common in the Himalayan region? It is because of this plate movement right here. So I hope you all have enjoyed today's class. And my dear kids, if you want to continue to learn such amazing concepts with such ease, with such powerful methods of animations and various tools, then I highly recommend you to enroll into our crash course program. So let me tell you more about our crash course program. So this program is a 1 week long program wherein teachers from IIT, so teachers who have expertise in their domain with more than 10 years of experience will be teaching you and will be preparing you for your upcoming school examinations. So, my dear kids, hurry up, and you can see many other things that we are providing right here. So, you will be getting some math sessions, some science sessions. You will be getting a personal mentor teacher support. So, especially during the exam times, personal attention is highly needed, and we give that to you by the means of our personal mentor teacher. You have their contact numbers and you can contact them anytime. Apart from this, we will also be providing you excellent study material in the form of ebooks. You will also be given sufficient homework and many tests so that you can practice very well for your school examinations. So enroll right now into our crash course if you want to avail all of these wonderful and excellent availabilities and opportunities. And you can enroll yourself for a very affordable price. So you can enroll for rupees 29, 49 or 99, just depending upon your class. And how will you enroll yourself? So, my dear kids, there is this link right there in the description box. You can click this link right there and you can complete the enrollment. We do have limited seats, so make sure you complete the enrollment as soon as possible. So, I'm ending this session right here. I hope you have enjoyed the class and see you there in our crash course. Bye, kids.